Chapter 20. You don't run this race just to finish, you run it to finish faithful. Because there is a king coming, and when he comes, he is not asking about your influence, your platform, or your recognition. He is asking one thing. Did you follow me? And he is not coming for polished saints. He is coming for overcomers, those who did not just survive culture, but stood against it, those who did not just attend church, but became the church. This chapter is not about survival. It is about eternity. It is about endurance, fire, faithfulness, and finishing well until the King comes. One day, your work will end. Your voice will quiet. Your platform will disappear. Your name will fade from memory. And none of that will matter. Because in that moment, you will stand before one person, and not culture, not people, not opinion, but before the eyes of fire, the judgment seat of Christ. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:10. This is not judgment for salvation. This is judgment for reward. Where hidden faithfulness is revealed, where unseen obedience is honored, where motives are exposed. This is the seat where titles mean nothing, but faithfulness means everything. We often say we are not living for this world, but ask honestly, are we? Because many prepare more for retirement than for eternity, more for vacation than vindication, more for savings than for souls. But heaven is watching, and heaven is weighing. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, Hebrews 12:1. They are not passive spectators. They are witnesses to your endurance. Abraham is watching. Will you obey when called? Daniel is watching. Will you stand when pressured? Esther is watching. Will you speak when silence is safer? Stephen is watching. Will you remain faithful even unto death? They are not distant heroes. They are your spiritual lineage, your cloud, your testimony of endurance. And they are cheering not for applause, but for faithfulness. There are crowns in Scripture, not for talent, not for influence, not for popularity, but for endurance, faithfulness, love, obedience, and laying down your life. The quiet yes, when compromise was easier, the hidden prayers no one saw, the obedience that cost you comfort. Those things are not forgotten. They are eternal currency. And one day, your King will look at you and say, you were faithful. This is the war of the last days. Distraction versus devotion. You will be tempted to chase applause. You will be pressured to perform. You will be offered shortcuts. You will be pushed toward compromise. But every idol you bow to now will vanish in fire. Only one thing will remain: faithfulness to the King. Will the Son of Man find faith on the earth? Luke 18:8. Not perfect faith, not loud faith, not popular faith, but enduring faith. Faith that does not quit. Faith that does not bend. Faith that does not fade. The King is coming, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally. Behold, he is coming with the clouds. Revelation 1:7. Every eye will see him. And when he comes, he does not return as the suffering lamb. He returns as the conquering King, fire in his eyes, a sword in his mouth, authority in his hand. The one who was rejected will be revealed as King. This is not imagination, this is prophecy, and it is unfolding. The harvest will be complete. The angels will separate the righteous and the wicked, the faithful and the compromised, and nothing hidden will remain hidden. This is not fear, this is urgency. Because eternity is closer than we think. You were not saved only to escape hell. You were saved to reign with Christ. If we endure, we will also reign with Him. 2 Timothy 2:12. Not just in heaven, but in the restoration of all things. You are not just a believer, you are a co-heir. You are not just a worshiper, you are being trained to reign. Right? So when He comes, let Him find you burning, not distracted, not asleep, not compromised, but burning. Keep your lamp full, keep your heart awake, keep your spirit alive, stay in the secret place, stay faithful when no one sees, stay obedient when it costs you, because soon every eye will see, and those who burned in secret will shine in glory. Final prayer. Record this slowly. King Jesus, this life is yours. I want to see you. I want to know you. But above everything, I want to be ready. Strip every distraction from me. Break every lukewarm place in me. Mark me with eternity. Let me live like heaven is real. Let me love like time is short. Let me pray like everything depends on it. Crown or no crown, reward or no reward, I want you. But if you entrust me with anything, let it be because I laid everything down now. I will burn until you come. I will run until I see you. I will not quit. I will not turn back. I will not bow. Here I am, Lord. I take my life. Chapter 21, when God becomes a burden, the rebound of forced faith. I didn't walk away from Christ because I stopped believing in Him. I walked away because the version of Him I was shown felt more like a burden than a wellspring. In Ukraine, I was immersed in a religious culture that demanded everything from the soul. All-night prayers, 5 to 8 hour services, relentless fasting, repeated altar calls. What was meant to awaken awe often left me numb. Instead of rest, I felt pressure. Instead of freedom, I felt force. The call to surrender sounded less like invitation and more like obligation. But it wasn't God I was resisting. It was the system built around Him. What I experienced, wasn't rest. It was weight. And I realize now what pushed me toward atheism was not denial of God's existence. It was rebellion against how He was being represented. Faith had been made transactional, performative, sometimes even manipulative, and instinctively I knew this could not be Jesus. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. From the beginning, God honors choice. In Eden, there were 2 trees, not one. Freedom was real. Love that is not chosen is not love at all. At Sinai, God did not coerce Israel. He invited agreement. Faith was always meant to be chosen, not forced. But when communities impose belief, when leaders use guilt, fear, or pressure, something breaks. The human soul recoils. What was meant to be relationship becomes control. And eventually, a spiritual rebound happens. It is not slow drifting, but sudden distance. Not hatred of God, but escape from distortion. We don't just walk away, we run. Because breathing becomes impossible inside pressure disguised as faith. Even philosophy recognizes this tension. Autonomy matters. Authentic faith cannot be manufactured. It must be freely chosen, or it is not transformation, but conditioning. Jesus never coerced belief. He invited it. He spoke in parables, not pressure. When the rich young ruler walked away, Jesus let him go. No manipulation, no shame, no forcing, just truth. And space to choose. So why do we often do differently? Why does religion sometimes rely on pressure instead of presence? Fear that without pressure, God will not move. But in that fear, we replace reverence with control, presence with performance, spirit with system. And for those receiving it, especially the young, faith becomes suffocating. Worship feels heavy. Prayer feels forced. Church feels like performance. And quietly, a question forms. If this is God, why does it feel like this? Many who leave Christianity are not leaving Christ. They are leaving distortion. They are leaving weight, not the way. The gospel was never meant to be heavy. It declares something radical. It is finished. The burden of striving was never yours to carry. But the rebound is real. When faith is forced, trust fractures, memory becomes uncertain. Was that encounter real or emotional pressure? Was that moment God or conditioning? Oh, this creates confusion. A kind of exile, not from God, but from systems that claim to represent Him. But exile is not abandonment. It is often redirection. Like Israel in Babylon, God was still present, but outside familiar structures. Healing begins with permission. Permission to stop performing, permission to question, permission to feel, permission to be honest. Even lament is sacred. And Job questioned, David cried out, Jesus himself cried, "Why have you forsaken me?" Doubt is not absence of faith. It is often engagement with truth. Slowly, something begins to separate the real Christ from religious distortion, and a realization emerges. God was never the pressure. He was never the burden. He was never the voice of control. That was never him. Jesus simply invited. He never forced. And that truth is liberating, because grace begins to feel real when striving stops. The heart begins to breathe again. God is no longer encountered in pressure, but in presence, also in silence, in nature, in subtle peace. Not performance, but relationship. And slowly, worship returns, prayer returns, scripture returns. Not as obligation, but as desire. Because love cannot survive coercion, but it thrives in freedom. And here is the deepest truth. Even in rebellion, God did not leave. Even in doubt, He remained near. The prodigal is never rejected. He is welcomed. The door was never closed. Rediscovering Jesus after disillusionment is like resurrection. The false image dies, The true Christ rises, gentle, present, unforced. And when you finally see him clearly, there is no pressure. All just presence, just love, just him. Scars in his hands, bread in his offering, breakfast on the shore. And the same truth whispers still, I never stopped loving you. I never asked you to perform. I only wanted you to come to me.